Tonight's farewell to high life legend Charles Fosu, also known as Daddy Lumba, as emotional funeral rites draw a massive crowd in Kumasi.
Also tonight, Cybersecurity Authority, in collaboration with the National Security Operatives, they've arrested 32 Nigerian nationals in a coordinated operation at Kaswa, Tuba.
Tonight, we take a closer look at the challenges couples face reconciling customary traditions with ordinance marriage laws.
Much later in international news, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says Rwanda's actions in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo are a clear violation of the peace deal signed in Washington.
Many thanks for joining us. You have details of these and more in the next 60 minutes. Stay with us.
Let's start off the bulletin. The Cybersecurity Authority, in collaboration with the National Security Operatives, have arrested 32 Nigerian nationals during a coordinated operation at Kaswa Tuba in the early hours of today. Now, investigations indicate that the group was operating a cybercrime ring focused on romance fraud, primarily targeting victims in Thailand and Japan. Now, the joint operation also led to the seizure of 31 laptops and 15 mobile phones believed to be used in carrying out the illicit activities. The suspects have been taken into custody to assist with ongoing investigations while the seized devices are undergoing forensic analysis. Officials say the operation forms part of sustained national efforts to clamp down on cybercrime and related offenses. Now, the Cybersecurity Authority has reaffirmed its commitment to working closely with security agencies to protect Ghana's digital space and has urged the public to remain vigilant, reporting any suspicious activities to the appropriate authorities. Let's take the thoughts of Dr. Edward Danso Song. He's the head of the Cybersecurity Lab Department of Computer Science at the University of Ghana. Doc, good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. How significant is this arrest in Ghana's broader fight against organized cybercrime, particularly romance fraud targeting foreign victims and the elderly?
Okay, thank you very much, and have a very good evening. Yeah, I would say that there's a very significant efforts by the CSA and other sister agencies that are responsible for the arrest of this number. This is actually one of the highest number that we have actually experienced so far in the coming days. I do recall some couple of months ago where about 20-something more suspects were also arrested in a similar rate and all that. But in as much as this is very significant, I wish to also add that it also gives us so much concern to be worried about, especially when the country's image is currently being marred by these frequent cyber security, activities going on, all in the name of the country. Because once these people carry out or launch such attacks in foreign lands, the IP traces back to Ghana and not Nigeria. So this is also eroding the good name and credibility that we used to have in the past years as far as this is concerned. So even though it is significant, but we need to look at the trend. We actually need to know for how long have these people been in. And I just wish to add that this particular kind of launch of attacks that people are now using Ghana's better electricity or power system compared with Nigeria, much more stringent and stronger laws in combating cyber security activities and all that is one of the motivation that is now moving the Nigerian nationals to Ghana the easy access to internet and the good security that we actually have internally have all contributed to this. So I think that it is rather very, very worrying that these trends keeps, increasing instead of reducing.
Doc, beyond the arrest, you mentioned that the Ghanaian climate is suitable for these fraudsters to operate in Ghana. Beyond the arrest, what can Ghana do in terms of prevention so that people do not fall victims to these syndicates?
Yeah, I think we need to be very careful, or we need to look at rental agreement systems, because in many of these such raids that has been carried out and these significant arrests being done, we need to look at rental laws, because how do you rent a space to an individual? Because most of the time it is not the entire people who come with their names on the
Unfortunately, we seem to be losing connection to Dr. Ansong speaking with us there. But when we reconnect with him, we'll bring you that conversation with Doc. I understand you're still on the line with us. You were talking about the preventive strategies that Ghana can adopt. You mentioned relooking the renting scheme. What else can we do?
Yes, and then we also need to look at how, even though we are within the ECOWAS free trade and free movement agreement, I think that we also need to be on the lookout, because even in other countries where there are free visas and free travels and all that, there are still need to identify the movement of individuals who are coming in and going out, the house address that you're actually visiting. We need to also be on the lookout on that, because these are young men. How did they come in? Did they come in as students? We need to look at the modus operandi they have been using, the kind of scheme they have been using in order to transport. Because see, we have arrested 32 individuals. Who knows? These individuals may even turn out being victims who are being held against their own will. So I would suggest that we rather need to look at the kingpins, those who have been cutting or bringing in people from, other nationals, especially from Nigeria to Ghana, in order to carry out such an arrest, than just arresting these young men, and then they also turn out to be victims.
And Doc, if you can sum this up for me, what practical steps can we take to protect ourselves from romance scams, and how can vigilance help security agencies?
Yes. One of the very key things that we need to be very careful of is social media activity. Many a times we are usually baited by very too good to be true offers, people who want to, send you items, gifts, and then, pestering you with comments and, flattery, messages and other offers and travel abroad and all that. That has always been many of the various, scheme that they have actually been using, knowing very well that people within Ghana usually like to travel, and many a times these has always been some of the schemes they have actually been using. So we need to be very, very careful, especially when you receive emails, messages, text messages, and so on from people that you don't know. We have to be very, very careful and very, very careful. And with this, I think it will be able to significantly reduce the kind of
Grateful for your time. Grateful for your time, Doc. Dr. Emmanuel Danswansong is head of Cyber Lab Department at the University of Ghana, speaking with us there. Let's do some other stories tonight.
Right, Crosby, and the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the Special Prosecutor have over the last few days come under pressure regarding their performance. There were calls from some key figures, including members of the governing National Democratic Congress, to abolish the office, followed by a private members' bill to that effect. But President Mahama has urged the MPs to withdraw their private members' bill, stressing the OSP's crucial role in effectively fighting corruption. The following report has more.
Among the voices calling for the scrapping of the Office of the Special Prosecutor (OSP) include Professor Aaron Michael Quay, who was speaking when the bill was passed, Majority Leader Mahama Ayariga, and Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin, who have argued that there was no constitutional basis for the establishment of the office. In furtherance of the call, Majority Leader Mahama Ayariga and his Chief Whip Roxanne Nelson Dapiamekbo drafted a private member's bill to repeal the OSP Act and abolish the Office of the Special Prosecutor, but President Mahama urged the Majority Leader and the Chief Whip to withdraw the private member's bill. During the meeting with members of the Peace Council at the Presidency on Wednesday, President Mahama said strengthening the Office of the Special Prosecutor was key in Ghana's fight against corruption.
I think it's premature to call for the closure of that office. The unique thing about that office is it is the only anti-corruption agency that has prosecutorial powers to be able to prosecute themselves without going through the Attorney General. And so people had mistrust for the Attorney General because the Attorney General normally is a member of government and is a minister of state. But if there's an independent office like the Office of the Special Prosecutor, it won't matter who you are because they have security of tenure and they have prosecutorial powers. Of course, people want to see, more prosecutions and more results. And so I'll just urge the OSP to speed up, some of these investigations and, show people that the office is still very relevant.
Majority Chief Whip Roxanne Nelson Dapiamekbo, speaking on the key points, said he and the Majority Leader will withdraw their private member's bill.
Parliament cannot create an office that will become a monster unto itself and to the citizens. That is the perspective from which we are coming from. But you see, we believe in the wisdom of the president. It's what a request. So my boss says, the old man has brought a request. We believe in his wisdom. If there will be a reform, we're all looking for a reform. If he will perform better and bring better results, so be it. But in that same vein, I am asking the person against whom you wanted to also take steps so that tomorrow it may not be inviting an action from you, but it may be another person. We all want the best from our state institutions.
Investigative journalist Manasseh Azuri Awuni says he backs calls by the President Mahama for two of his MPs to withdraw their private members' bill seeking to repeal the law that created the Office of the Special Prosecutor.
I support the President's call to get the office to continue, but I also like the way the President puts it. He doesn't only does a blind support, but also calls for the office to live up to its name. I said in 2024 in my book that the office is yet to be special in its description. What Ghanaians expect is very simple. This office was not brought in to do theatrics. All the other things they claim to be doing were already being done. Over the years, works by journalists have been saving hundreds and millions of dollars. What we need the office to do is to be able to do prosecution. And we shouldn't be satisfied with we have this number of cases in court.
The Office of the Special Prosecutor was established in 2017 under Act 959. The OSP is a specialized agency with a mandate to investigate specific cases of alleged or suspected corruption and corruption-related offenses involving public officials and politically exposed persons.
Now, President John Dramani Mahama has arrived in Abuja, Nigeria to attend the 68th ECOWAS Ordinary Summit. The President will participate in the ordinary session of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government scheduled to take place on 14th December at the Presidential Villa in Abuja, Nigeria. The President arrived in the Nigerian capital and was welcomed at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport by Foreign Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, Ghana's High Commissioner to Nigeria, Ambassador Baba Jamal, and other senior officials of the mission in Abuja. The summit will feature a special debate on the future of the community and will bring together ECOWAS leaders to deliberate on key regional priorities. President Mahama is expected to take part in a closed-door session focused on the strategic direction of the community, political stability, regional security, and economic integration. Now, key agenda items for the session include pronouncements on the future of the ECOWAS community, presentation of the 2025 annual report on the state of the community, reports on regional security, ongoing mediation efforts, and the political transition in Guinea, as well as review of the ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme.
Well, let's do some other stories now, and one that has caught the attention of a lot of people now. Following weeks of legal battle and public anxiety, the nation has finally bid goodbye to high-life icon Daddy Lumba today. The funeral and burial of the late musician drew a massive and emotional crowd of mourners to Kumasi.
After days of tension and legal uncertainty, the final funeral rites and burial of high-life legend Daddy Lumba has proceeded as scheduled. From the early hours of the morning, admirers clad in black and red gathered here at the Heroes Park in Kumasi, singing some of Daddy Lumba's timeless song, celebrating a career that shaped Ghana's high-life music for decades. For the grieving fans, it was a moment of profound relief, a chance to honor the man whose voice scored their lives.
For me, as an Akan and our beliefs, when the person is buried, all issues must be buried. I will urge all the family, especially the women involved, and for the sake of the children, they should come together and protect the legacy of Charles Kojo Fosuda Daddy Lumba.
I owe it a duty, first of all, as a person and also representing the party in government, to be present at the funeral. I will still remember Lumba a lot. His music will stay on forever.
The funeral ceremony was marked with traditional rites, musical performances, and tributes from family members, colleagues, and fans, all reflecting the enormous influence Daddy Lumba had on Ghana's music and culture. The immediate family, including his widow and children, paid their emotional final respects.
You're more than just a father. You were our strength, our comfort, our laughter. You showed us what it means to stand together.
To my husband, Charles Kojo Fosu, my king, my protector. If your spirit still walks among us, then let the truth itself rise as our vengeance. Let the love we share be the fire that consumes falsehood. Let the dignity with which you held me, the honor with which you lifted me, and the peace you gave me stand as testimony against every cruel tongue.
Security was tightened at the venue as organizers worked to manage the large turnout, ensuring a peaceful and dignified farewell for the high-life legend. With the burial now concluded, many are hoping this solemn ceremony will also bring a sense of closure and perhaps an end to the public family dispute that are threatening to overshadow the legend's final journey. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Kumasi.
Still on some sad developments, the final funeral rites of former Defense Minister Dr. Edward Omane has been held at Koforidua in the Eastern region. The First Lady Lordina Mahama, together with a high-level government delegation, joined family members to pay their last respects to the late minister.
Across the region and the country, dignitaries converged in Koforidua to bid farewell to their illustrious son and former Defense Minister Dr. Omane, who died in the August helicopter crash. The First Lady, Lordina Mahama, Ministers of State, members of Parliament, leadership of the National Democratic Congress, and hundreds of mourners gathered at the Jackson's Park, the venue for the final funeral rite. Also in attendance were the wife and family of the late minister, alongside chiefs and traditional leaders. Many extolled the virtues of Dr. Omane Boamah, describing him as a dedicated public servant and a man of integrity.
Dr. Edward Omane Kofi Boamah, he is a man of peace, a man of intelligence, and at the same time, a man of wisdom. In fact, Ghana, we have lost a great man.
Knowing Kofi growing up, he comes from a very humble background. He never gave up. He committed himself into learning. That is why he did medicine. And what that tells you is that from my own experience, there has never been any great person on this planet without coming from a humble background. Where you come from should not matter, but where you want to be in life was what he was focused on. And he did everything to go to school, to become a medical doctor. I remember when we were leaving the National Union of Ghana students, I campaigned for him and we handed over to him. He became a student leader and he did not relent on his cause. He was fighting for the youth. If you know from his track record, he was fighting for even the grassroots of the NDC. And we knew that Koforidua here, New Job and all that he was coming from, he was going to help the youth a lot.
A true statesman, and for that matter, a true Catholic who lived exemplary life as a Catholic. We've lost a good man, but we know the legacy he's left behind is going to continue to live on.
Dr. Omane Boamah was among the 8 who lost their lives in the August helicopter crash. A rainstorm disrupted the funeral rites midway.
And may the souls of all those departed rest in peace. Tonight, we turn our attention to a growing public conversation around marriage in Ghana, specifically the areas of confusion and conflict between customary marriage and ordinance marriage. As more couples navigate these two systems, questions continue to arise. Where do the lines cross, and why are they so sticky? Ibrahim Boubacar tries to find answers to all of these.
Marriage in Ghana is recognized under 3 main forms: customary, rooted in ancestral tradition; ordinance marriage, backed by statutory state law; and Muhammadan, governed by Islamic principles. Yet, for many couples, the differences remain unclear and the consequences sometimes costly. Under customary law, a marriage becomes valid once families perform the necessary rites, often including the knocking, bride price, and blessings from both households. It is culturally accepted, binding, and widely practiced across communities. But with increasing urbanization, education, and the push for legal protection, many couples now opt for ordinance marriage, a monogamous union registered with and enforced by the state.
Once customary marriage will give you the leeway to marry as many as you want. For Muhammadan marriage, the maximum you can marry is 4. Marriage under ordinance, or the Cap 127, it is monogamous in nature. Unlike customary marriage, where the marriage is between the woman's family and the man's family. Under ordinance, the marriage is between a man and a woman. So it is the voluntary union between one man and one woman, to the exclusion of all others. It means no other person can come in between the marriage.
And that is where the sticky lines emerge. Some couples perform customary rites, believing they are fully married, only to discover later that legally the union must be registered to be recognized under the ordinance.
You can't do ordinance and opt for a customary certificate. Yes, but couple can do customary ceremony, do every ceremony at the house, and come in and opt for ordinance certificates. They'll come and pass through the process of ordinance registration and come and sign the ordinance certificates.
Officials say a growing number of disputes, especially around property, inheritance, and divorce, stem from this misunderstanding. But what will make a person opt for a type of marriage?
I've been married close to 2 years now, and then I married under ordinance. Reason being that it is legally strong, and then when in case one person is out, maybe there is death or something, ensuring the inheritance or whatever, your children are safe because you don't have to go through all the drama with the family and other people interfering in what you and your husband has suffered to gain and all that. So I opted for that, and also the very important one, it is monogamous.
I prefer the customary, and the reason being that it's safe, and then I would be bothered with dividing my properties with the woman that I will marry. Under the customary, I think you can marry as many as you want as compared to the ordinance.
Experts advise couples to understand the system they are choosing and the responsibilities that come with each.
After praying, look at the legal implications. If you can handle them. If you can't handle, relax and select the one you can handle. I think once that happens, we are on the same page and our society will be free from matrimonial causes.
Marriage registration, very important. You have to register your marriage. You have to get married the right way. But marriage is not a certificate. Marriage is both of you getting married.
So whether traditional or statutory, clarity remains key in avoiding the pitfalls that have trapped many families. As conversations continue about harmonizing Ghana's marriage laws, one thing remains clear: informed choices can prevent years of conflict. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Omane.
Let's do some education now. Education is often regarded as the gateway to opportunity. Yet for many students, the West African Senior School Certificate Examination, WASSCE, has become a high-stakes barrier that determines their future. Each year, thousands of young people face the painful reality of failing this exam, a moment that is too often treated as a permanent setback rather than a temporary challenge. Stay with us here in this bulletin, and we'll bring you that story about failures in WASSCE. But in the meantime, the Vice President, Professor Jainano Pokwajiman, has urged students of the University of Energy and Natural Resources to place importance on purpose, integrity, and sustainability at the core of their work. She noted that the country's development depends on ethical and people-centered solutions.
The Vice President, who was speaking at the 10th Congregation of the University of Energy and Natural Resources in Sunyani, emphasized the need for innovation that prioritizes affordability, fairness, and environmental responsibility. She urged the graduates to collaborate across disciplines and communities to drive positive change.
The problems ahead are complex and interdependent. Progress will come from shared intelligence across disciplines, sectors, and communities. Approach collaboration not as a compromise, but as a strength. Partnerships will sharpen your judgment and increase the reach of your work. As you step into the next chapter, let integrity guide your work. Meet problems with courage and creativity. There will be setbacks, projects will fail, funding will be scarce. When that occurs, return to the fundamentals that brought you here.
Professor Nana Jane Opokwajaman also encouraged students to become agents of change, equipped with the skills and values necessary to tackle the country's developmental challenges. Domahene and chairman of the University Governing Council, Osajefo Osiadeyo Ajiman Bedu, encouraged the graduates to uphold excellence.
As we celebrate this milestone, let us affirm our commitment to nurturing excellence, fostering innovation, and advancing sustainability. In doing so, we ensure that the University of Energy and Natural Resources continue to stand as a beacon of hope, a hub of creativity and a force for transformative changes in Ghana and beyond.
And the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Ahmed Ibrahim, says the 24-hour economy will be extended into the sanitation space as part of measures to ensure a clean Ghana. Ahmed Ibrahim was speaking to journalists after the Clean Ghana monthly exercise.
The President of the Republic promised to make Ghana clean. And he promised to work 24/7. We are about to end the year. We are trying as an MMDA responsible for the soft structures. We are trying to see how the 24-hour economy will work in the sanitation sector. This week, we call all the MMCs in Greater Accra and told them that we were going to pay a random search to see those who are at post and those who have agreed to implement the president's vision. In fact, we started from Ayawaso East and West. We went to Ayawaso East, then went to the West.
And now the Ghana Conference of has urged the government and other stakeholders to ensure that challenges they face in their communities in assessing legal documentation are addressed. According to them, these barriers they undermine social cohesion and fuel contestations over citizenship.
For decades, Fulbes in Ghana have faced persistent barriers, including stereotypes and challenges in accessing legal documentation such as the Ghana card, birth certificates, and health insurance. These barriers undermine social cohesion and fuel contestations over citizenship. Speaking at the Fulbe Conference on Inclusion and Peaceful Coexistence in Ghana, organized by Kojinta Ghana, the leadership of the Fulbe community urged state security agencies to strengthen trust and cooperation with Fulbe leaders. They emphasized the importance of upholding the principles of human rights, neutrality, and impartiality. According to them, building such trust is essential for preventing conflict, fostering inclusion, and ensuring sustainable peace across communities.
We apologize for that. We'll bring you the story subsequently. But away from that, concern is growing over poor nutrition and its impact on the health and development of people across the country, from the types of meals consumed to the financial capacity to afford healthier options. Stakeholders warn that current eating habits are contributing to increasing health risk. They believe that improving these habits will enhance nutrition, raise living standards, and reduce the overall burden of diseases.
The call for improved nutrition is growing louder, with many urging the government to intervene and ensure healthier diets for the population. Member of Parliament for Lumba and board chair of Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Professor Titus Bayu, attributes the prevalence of poor diets among Ghanaians to the inability of many households to afford balanced meals.
People are not eating well, not because they have chosen not to eat well, but because they don't have the money. They don't have the means. They cannot afford protein on their meal. And so if we improve the living standard, improve the wealth of the country, individual wealth, and it's properly distributed, we'll be able to improve nutrition significantly.
Experts say existing government policies are not yielding results.
Our governments are doing well, but the policies are not working. So let's rethink about our policies and to see how we can address the issue of childhood stunting, the issue of childhood anemia, the issue of exclusive breastfeeding.
We are asking government to make it mandatory for all people who are processing food, who are, producing food, to put the nutrition labels.
At a stakeholder meeting on strengthening investment and leadership for maternal and child nutrition in Ghana, Dr. Charity Binka said Ghanaians are not paying enough attention to what they eat.
We have very nutritious things, but people are too busy, they don't have time. So I think that we have everything we need to make sure that our children do not become diabetic, do not become hypertensive when they are very small. Formerly, talking about hypertension, diabetes, among adults was not very common. But now it's all over. When you hear somebody, the person gone too soon, what a shock.
Residents also shared their thoughts on nutrition.
If the food is delicious, the food is healthy and it's 1,000 Ghana, I don't buy, I'll buy it. Our forefathers were not eating those sugary foods. So when you see our forefathers, they live longer than we this generation. Let's stop eating those sugary foods and let's concentrate on our natural foods. Let's cook for our children.
I believe that every family should know what works for each and every child. Depending on the time, no, it's very accessible, it's very affordable, but is it going to help my body at that time? That's what I use to determine what to eat.
My mom, now I decide to say,
if I give rice to my family yesterday, today I give them fufu so that it can vary.
Well, so Crosby, the caution is that whether you are doing the 101 format or the 011 format, make sure the food is healthy,
yes.
and it will nourish your body.
There's also the concern about affordability. So
of course. The guy says if it's 1,000 Ghana is healthy, he will buy it.
Wish him all the best.
You're also watching News 360 on TV3. We are back with more after this break. Stay with us.
during the first week of December alone, with several others sustaining life-threatening injuries. Now, as the busy holiday season approaches, authorities, they are urging drivers to take the wheel with caution and responsibility.
In the first week of December, 4 deadly road crashes were recorded on the Ho-Sogakope Road, the Kpando-Aziabe Road, and the Juaponho Road, resulting in the deaths of at least 8 persons, with others left with life-threatening injuries. The phenomenon has led to calls for more discipline and responsible driving ahead of the tight Christmas festive activities.
It's already happening. The only thing I'll tell all our drivers, even pedestrians, not just drivers, is to watch out when they are on the roads. Live life, it's only one. The best driver is the one who drives and gets home safely, not the one who speeds better than the other.
Going into the new year, the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority says it will develop mechanisms to monitor overspeeding on our roads as part of a new licensing regime.
Yes, DVLA is rolling out the new licensing regime come next year. And as part of the new regime, we are introducing the RFID SIM embedded number plates, which will have RFID readers at various points, such as traffic lights, on highways and others. It will be a way to monitor overspeeding. But if you reach a place which is designated for you to go 30 km per hour, then you decide to drive 80 km, the RFID device will communicate with the reader and inform the back office and relay it to the police.
In a related development, the DVLA has opened an ultra-premium service center in Amfuega in the North Dine district. The facility is intended to address challenges vehicle owners and motorists face in having access to DVLA services.
Proud to the coming of this particular DVLA office. It used to be a lot of struggle. We used to go through a lot of difficulty to have access to DVLA services.
About 80% of my youth who are into motor riding, those who are drivers, have paid for their licenses. Then I sat down and asked myself, I asked people to Fulbe, how about bringing DVLA to my own constituency? It has been a very difficult task. It wasn't easy. I didn't find it easy at all. This is not only going to give jobs to the teeming youth, this is more of like an asset.
Time now for sports. Aniela Alote is standing by.
Sports segment is brought to you by Sasso Insecticide Spray and Coil.
Sports here on News360. I am Aniela Alote. We start off on the domestic front with game week 14 of the Ghana Premier League. Accra Hearts of Oak climbed to third on the table following a 1-0 victory over Nations FC. The Phobians have Hamza Issa to thank for all 3 points.
Feet swings one into the box, and George Paku drops the ball down and lifts it up, and the Phobians have the goal now. They have been calling, and definitely the door has been opened for them. And Hamza Issa certainly has produced a magical moment for the Phobians with the goal here.
Just where you thought they were taking their foot off the pedal, just where you thought the intensity was reducing for them, they produced a moment of brilliance there. And the delivery, the quality of the cross from Bayfi, but then Paku does well to hang on for a moment and just look at the cross, make space for himself right into the 6-yard box, and Hamza would just pounce on that. One of the worst away forms in the.
Well, again, they still go back out to vote with a second goal, and a lovely block there by Kwambuachi. And the Phobians were just up there for the second goal.
How did he not score?
And how did Kwambuachi just steal his way out there to block that ball? But let's look at the build-up again. George Paku involved, and it was Hussein. And again, he had to come in, and Hamza Issa nearly got the 4th goal of the season.
Now, following his defeat, coach of Nations FC, Frimpong Mansa, said his team fought in the first half, but in the second half, allowing a mistake on the flanks caused the concession. Meanwhile, coach of Accra Hearts of Oak, Didi Dramani, explained that he went into the game with the expectation of victory and organized his team to execute just that.
It was a game we fought, especially in the first half.
in the second half, maybe for 10 minutes, we went off, and then that was how come we allowed that cross to even come in. So for me, it was a game, at least maybe we could have ended a draw, but for that, I would say a mistake. They allowed them to play on the flanks, and then that cross came. We've done a lot to make sure we stop all those crosses, but then we allowed them to go. We were not keeping the ball. At that point that we conceded, we were always 1-2, we lose the pass. 1-2, we lose the pass. That was how come the pressure came on us. So for me, we couldn't hold the ball well in the second half, especially in the first 15 minutes. And that gave them that, let me say, the counter. They will win the ball and then play to the flank. And then in one of those crosses, they headed in the goal. So it was a transition. We couldn't manage it well.
I think that you go in any game and your optimism is that you have to win. But you have to be thinking about how you have to organize and then be able to put the acts that will give you the attitude of winning. I think that is part of the game, and then you need players to start, and you need players who can make changes. You need players who can affect the abilities of the team.
Moving on to round 16 of the English Premier League. After quite a rough patch, Liverpool have increased the unbeaten run to 5 games in all competitions with a 2-0 win over Brighton at Anfield. Elsewhere at Stamford Bridge, Everton suffered a 2-0 loss to Chelsea after failing to make their chances count.
They've come racing out of the blocks after a week of so many headlines.
Heading over to boxing, CEO of Legacy Rise, Sharaf Mahama, has called on Ghanaians to support his event scheduled for 20th December at the University of Ghana Stadium. The event, which promises exciting fights and musical entertainment, will be broadcast on TV3 and Onia TV.
We're asking, when is our next show? When is our next show? So the next event is December 20th, which is about 6-7 days away. So I urge all Ghanaians to come in their numbers and, come and show support to Ghanaian boxing. At Legacy Rise, we're trying to make history, promote local boxing and, also attract the international market. We're doing a collaboration with Matchroom Sport, one of the biggest promotional companies in the world. So yes, come and support the movement. And at Legacy Rise Sports, we try to elevate local boxers as well. A lot of entertainment. We have a list of special guests coming. People that you see on TV, you'll probably be seeing, sat next to you. So come in your numbers. We have a list of music artists coming as well, international music artists. So you're in for a good time if you come. So come early, 5 p.m. Make sure you see it, and not now. But at Legacy Rise, we only do big things. So you should know it's big.
That will be all for sports here on News 360. I am Aniela Alute.
Now, the former Chief of Defense Staff, His Excellency Vice Admiral Seth Amwama, retired, has called for the need for critical strategic thinking and leadership in an area marked by complex security challenges, including insurgencies, terrorism, and evolving border threats. Speaking at the second graduation of the National Defense College, the former CDS urged graduates to employ the advanced analytical, diplomatic, and defense skills acquired during the program to help deal with insurgencies and terrorism.
He described the establishment of the college as a strategic and cost-effective initiative for Ghana's security architecture, particularly given the high cost and limited slots for strategic training abroad in nations such as the United Kingdom, China, and Nigeria.
The world around us has become increasingly volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Threats are no longer confined to the traditional battlefields. They now extend into areas such as cyberspace, the environment, the economy, and even public health.
Acting Commandant of NCDS, Brigadier General Frederick Denchi Intri, appealed for enhanced support from the government and defense partners, underscoring that the college is still in its early developmental phase and faces ongoing resource constraints and the need for a permanent campus facility.
The present state of dwindling resources is grinding to a halt some critical activities that would otherwise sustain the college. The college has been compelled to seriously scale down, actually to the bone, the requirement for undertaking some activities, including experiential research studies, due to acute financial challenges. We hereby appeal to government, friendly nations and agencies, as well as corporate bodies, to make every supportive effort to enable the college become financially stable for this great college to make the needed impact in national development, peace, and security.
The graduates included 20 officers from the Ghana Army, Navy, and Air Force, 3 participants from allied African nations Nigeria, Rwanda, and Zambia, the 3 female participants drawn from various ministries, departments, and agencies, MMDAs. The event themed simple, moral, accountable, responsive and transparent smart governance for sustainable development, underscores the increasing importance of ethical leadership in both military and civil service spheres.
Let's find the latest on the international front.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says Rwanda's action in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo are a clear violation of the peace deal signed in Washington under President Donald Trump. Secretary of State Marco Rubio emphasized on Saturday that the U.S. will respond to ensure the commitments made in the deal are upheld. His comments came as the U.S. accused Rwanda of exacerbating unrest in the DRC, given the advance of the M23 rebel group, which allegedly has Rwandan backing. The situation threatens to unravel U.S.-led peace negotiations, as the DRC and Rwanda had previously agreed to a peace deal in Washington, despite ongoing conflicts in the region. More than 1 million households are without electricity in Ukraine after a barrage of overnight Russian strikes hit energy and industrial infrastructure, officials said. Ukraine's Internal Affairs Minister Ihor Klimenko said 5 regions were hit and at least 5 people were injured, and work was underway to extinguish fires and restore supplies. While Russian attacks on Ukrainian energy infrastructure have been common throughout the war, Moscow has intensified strikes as the country heads into winter. It comes as U.S. President Donald Trump's overseas envoy will travel to Germany this weekend to meet Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and European leaders for more talks on ending the war.
That's all time we'll allow for this edition of News 360. We came to you live from our studios here at number 35 John Hammond Street. But there's more news always on our website, 3news.com. I'm Noble Crosby Annan.
I'm Grace Amuajiman. Thank you for joining us. Good night.